And welcome to episode 9 of the What Shara Made podcast. Thanks for joining me again and spending some time with me today. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're a new viewer, hello for the very first time. I've only got a few things to talk about today, so this might be a shorter than usual episode. I've had a really busy week and I've only had a chance to work on a couple of projects, so I might as well dive straight in with my whips. I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous episode. I think I did actually. The same linen yarn that I used to make my mustard yellow and blue striped linen cardigan that I showed you a few episodes ago. I actually had a whole lot of that yarn in all different colours, and I didn't know what to do with it. And then I realised it'd be great to have a warm weather shawl. So I thought I'll use that yarn to make myself a shawl to wear in the warmer months. And I looked and looked and looked all over Ravelry for some sort of magnificent shawl that I could use lots of different colours in. And then I remembered I've been wanting to make the Exploration Station by Stephen West for ages, since it came out. So I thought, I'll do that. And I've started it. Don't mind the 5 billion ends that I have hanging about, ready to be woven in at some later stage. Let me make sure I'm holding it up the right way when I show it to you. It's a bit hard to see because it's still on a needle, but you get the idea. I'm just about finished the brioche section now. It's a bit strange because it's, and there's an unusual mistake somewhere in there, too many holes. I don't know what happened, but I grew an extra massive eyelet somehow. I don't know. Because this is a 4-ply or fingering weight yarn, but it's an extremely lightweight fingering yarn. And this pattern calls for a fingering weight yarn, but probably more like a sock yarn. So this is quite lacy within itself, and then it's lacier with the actual deliberate holes. And it's knit on size 4 needle, so it's a big needle size for a 4-ply yarn. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm having so much fun knitting this pattern. Stephen West just does a beautiful job with his patterns. They're always really clear with lots of helpful hints, and they're so exciting. You never know which way you're going to turn next in the pattern. It's a real thrill to knit, and I'm just loving the results. So there we go. Really looking forward to finishing this and being able to wear it. I just love it. Oh, it actually goes quite nicely with this dress. Yeah, so I'm just about finished the brioche section, and then there's a slip stitch section after that, and then there's some plain knit. Well, I don't know which order they go in. And then a big lacy chevron border. I think it's going to look fabulous. Oh, I'm really loving that project so much. Really enjoying working on it, and I'm loving the results so far. So that one's been a really exciting whip actually. My next whip, I only started it a couple of hours ago, so there's really not a lot to show on it. However, I have a finished one I prepared earlier, to show you afterwards. But let me just show you the whip at present. Not that you'll be able to tell what it is. Hold on one moment. Sorry for that interruption. My phone was ringing, of course. First time ever. It's rung during a podcast. Of course it was today. Now, let me get back to what I was showing you. This here, after my little affair with brioche in the exploration station, I've been desperately wanting to make something using brioche, the brioche stitch. And I think I was overthinking it. I thought it was going to be so much more complicated than it was. And I think I was overthinking it, and I was making it harder than it was in my mind. And when I did that on the exploration station shawl, it suddenly made sense and it was really clear. And then I was really inspired to try making a brioche hat. And I spent ages trawling through Ravelry, narrowing it down to a few that I really like. And there's quite a few out that have come out recently that are very similar to each other. But I chose the one that I had the best yarn for. And I loved that one so much when I finished it that I've started another one, which is this whip. And you can see there, it's actually coming up quite nicely. And I'll show you the other side just so you can get the idea of what's happening there. And I've got my totally fabulous stitch marker. Isn't it cute? And that's from Wonderwall Designs on Etsy. I've just ordered a new set that I'm going to use as a giveaway in the Stash Busting Craft Along. So I'll show you those next week. So this hat here, obviously it's just the beginning, a little teeny weeny, it's not even an inch tall at present, is the Glamour Rose hat by Katrin Schubert. And if you check her out on Ravelry, I'll put a link in the show notes so it's nice and easy to find. She is really clever. She has got some amazing designs. You really need to check her out. And if you're wanting to try brioche, I can suggest her patterns. She's done a beautiful job of making it nice and clear. There was only one bit I didn't understand, and I'm pretty sure that was me and not the pattern. So it's still a fabulous pattern, and it's charted and written. I've only used the written instructions so far. The chart I don't think would have helped me at this stage. Maybe when I'm a bit more advanced with my brioche knitting, I can just use the chart. But you'll see, yeah, this is the pattern. She's so clever. I love the colours she's used actually, they're sensational, but I didn't have anything of that nature. I may as well show you the finished object one because it will help, I think. Now I haven't woven in the ends on this deliberately because I'm not entirely sure that it's the right size. Maybe it is, I don't know. I've got a pretty small head and I tend to need a smaller size hat, and hats are often swimming on my little head. And this one is a particularly big hat. I don't know, maybe I can wear it like a slouchy beanie instead. But here it is, and it's pretty amazing. How's that? Look at it. Oh, it's so lovely. Look at that. I love it so much. And the crown, it hasn't been blocked yet, obviously. The crown is just beautiful. Oh, I hope the light doesn't blow it out too much. I can't really show the crown in all its glory, unfortunately. Maybe if I turn it in the other way, that might help. I don't know. Last week it was really, really dark because of the weather, and this week it's really, really bright because of the weather. I can't win. Oh, it's so beautiful. Maybe we can get a better idea of what the magnificent crown looks like there. Not really, sorry, I'm not doing a great job at displaying this. I absolutely love it, I really, really do. So I think I should just weave in the ends and go with it and just make it fit me. If not, maybe I've got a friend I can give it to. It's got a slightly buffier head than mine. Brioche fabric is so soft and squishy. I love it. I would absolutely love a brioche sweater. I'm hoping one of these brioche genius pattern writers is going to come up with a brioche sweater pattern that's something similar to that, because how gorgeous would that be in a sweater? Like, yeah, that would be fabulous. So if you're a brioche designer and you're watching this, please make a magnificent brioche jumper. I'd love you forever. Oh gosh, I just love it so much. I'm so happy with it. The yarn I've used in this one is white gum wool DK, which is an organic, purely, wholly produced in Australia wool, and it's so yummy and soft. Oh my goodness, it's just gorgeous. And this one's been hand dyed by someone, and I bought it online ages ago, and I can't remember who I bought it from, what their name is, but whoever they are, they did a gorgeous job. I don't think they actually have a shop. I think I bought it off someone like in a knitting forum. Anyway, so pale pink and a beautiful pale green as well. Gorgeous colours. At first I was really sure that I would only ever wear it with the green side out, but once I finished it, I decided that I think the pink side is prettier. Oh, anyway, they're both gorgeous. I absolutely love it. The pattern is brilliant. So then I decided that I would make one, because that DK one was a bit too big, I might make one in a sports weight yarn. So I've got 2 sports weight yarns here that I just had in my stash that I'm using. So it's Bendigo Woolen Mills classic sports weight dog hair blend, obviously, and I've had this in my stash for possibly more than 10 years, bonkers, and I've got heaps of sports weight yarn, and I very rarely use sports weight yarn, so it's silly, isn't it? But I can see myself making a few more sports weight hats. It's just right. It's a good mix. So I've got that sort of charcoal. The more dog hair I pull off it, the more finds its way on there. I think this is indeed called charcoal, but I can't remember. So it's a Bendigo Woolen Mills classic sports weight or classic 5-ply, and it's a pure wool, and it's got a bit of a crepe construction. And the other one that I'm using is a Drops Delight, and this is sometimes listed as a 5-ply sports weight and sometimes listed as a 4-ply fingering weight or a sock yarn, but it's a pretty fat fingering weight yarn, so I'm saying it's sports weight, and I'm going with it for this pattern. How pretty those colours though. So I think that's going to look pretty cool mixed in with this charcoal. I think they're going to work well. I'm really looking forward to getting up to a colour change in that yarn, in the hat, because I think it's going to look pretty awesome. So I'm really, really happy with that pattern. And I was really inspired by the Give Me a Crown podcast. That the hat that was shown recently on that podcast was so beautiful. I just loved it, and I really couldn't wait to make my own. So different pattern, but same scenario. Oh god, I love it so much. It's so cool. Anyway, now I'm going to move on to another finished object. You may remember at the end of the last episode, I said I was going to attempt to finish off my Doodler, and that's the Doodler pattern by Stephen West. So a bit of a Stephen West theme in this episode. It was his mystery knit along for 2015. He has one every year and they're brilliant. This is the first time I've ever actually joined in, and I did all the other clues in the time. Like, you get a clue per week, and you get a week to finish one clue before the next clue arrives, and I did all the other clues within the weeks that were allowed, and then the last clue I sort of did half of it, and then I think I got distracted with that secret Christmas knitting for my sister's birthday. And I never went back to it, and I figured I had to finish off a few more summery things before I should even think about doing a wintry thing. So I put it on the back burner for a little while, and then I thought, you know what, I should just finish it off. I kept seeing all these finished ones popping up just in the last few weeks, so everyone else must be getting around to finishing theirs too. And I thought I had maybe a few more days worth of knitting left on it before it was done, but when I picked it up and read the pattern, I seriously had about 2 more rows and then a bind off to go, and that was it. I don't know why I put it down at that stage. I could have had it finished in a few hours. Anyway, I did have it finished in a few hours. Then, and on the 4th clue, if you are still keeping this a mystery, you may want to look away now. On the 4th clue, you had several different options for finishing. There were different types of picot borders that you could do and extra things, and there are several different ones, but the one I chose was the plain old I-cord bind off. And I felt like if I'd added anything else on this border, it would have been too much, and I just wanted a nice clean line of the I-cord bind off. And then I did block it in a bit of an unusual way, and that was deliberate, and I'm so pleased that I did. Anyway, you'll see what I mean. It's quite massive, so I don't know if it's going to fit in the screen, but we'll try. So, is that working? I can't really see. Oh, I have to look through one of these highlights. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. And so it's pretty gorgeous. I really love it. Oh my god, it's so pretty. So you'll see what I did with the blocking of these sections here. They're actually meant to be just round like that, but I thought I would add an extra dimension by pulling out 3 points on each of these scallops. I've done it on that one, and I've done it on all of them, but so yeah, it's pretty beautiful. I really love it, and I cannot wait until it is cool enough for me to wear this baby out. Oh my god, it fits so nicely as well. Oh, I love it so much. I can see myself wearing it like this, like a traditional shawl, but I can also see myself doing a bit of, you know, it's probably not going to work so well, that kind of stuff, and I'm liking that. Maybe put a shawl pin in it? I don't know, what do you think? I wonder if I can do a bit of a... I usually wear my shawls with the point at the front, highwayman style or cowboy style. So, oh yeah, that's gonna work too. It's really hot weather here today, so if I faint, I've probably got heat stroke. So yeah, it's pretty gorgeous. I really love it. It's really awesome. So the yarns that I've used, this one here, this grey one, is one that I've hand dyed from my regular Australian merino, 75% Australian merino, 25%, I think it's 75-25, maybe it's 80-20. Sock yarn that I hand dye. And I don't know if you can notice it, but they're in that grey base, there's burnt orange and navy blue speckles as well. They're quite subtle. And they were done, obviously, to match the two contrasts. And these two contrasts are both volumizer, fingering weight, obviously, and I still have more than half a skein of each left. And I think I'm going to knit gloves out of it. And I've got a really good glove idea in my mind. So maybe once I finish that beanie and the exploration station, I'll give this glove idea a crack, because I mean, it wouldn't matter what style glove I knitted in that yarn, they'd be spectacular, because that yarn is so pretty. So is that one, oh my goodness. And they look really nice together, actually, thank goodness. Anyway, I can't have that on my lap, it's really hot in here. So yeah, I've got quite a bit of that yarn left over. You'll probably remember when I first talked about my Doodler that I talked about section A, which is this grey part, the whole grey thing from there, goes up this way, and I ran out of the grey yarn halfway through the last wedge, and I dyed myself enough according to the amounts given in the pattern, but I ran out. And I tried to dye myself some extra in that same colourway, and I thought I'd done a great job until I looked at them side by side, and I'd done a dreadful job at matching them. And the extra yarn that I dyed was way darker than the original yarn. And when I just joined it in, and because I was sort of halfway through this when I ran out, when I joined in and started knitting, there was a really distinct line of where the light one finished and the dark one began. And it was pretty annoying. So I unravelled it, and I just started the whole last wedge in the darker colour. And you can see it. You can see that this last wedge is darker than the previous wedges. Doesn't matter. Because there's that line, this line here to intersect it, it's not quite so bad. But because I only dyed enough to sort of finish that wedge off before realising I hadn't done a very good job of matching the colours, when I got to about there, actually it's about there, I ran out of the dark colour. So I had to do this tiny little bit here. It was, I don't know, maybe 30 stitches in total, I don't know, not that many, in the light, original light colour. Oh. I was pretty annoyed with myself. Anyway, it's done now, and I'm really pleased with it. I absolutely love it. So there's that. And I've actually got another finished object to show you, but it's actually a past finished object. It's from, I think I finished it last year during the Knit Girls Stash Dash. So it had been a long languishing whip since at least the year before, maybe even prior to that. And it only needed a really little bit done on it to finish it. So I thought I'll finish it for Stash Dash so I can include it in my total. And it was this one. The Vertices Unite, I think that's how it's pronounced, shawl, also by Stephen West. And get a bit of an idea of, it's also quite a big one. And I used entirely stashed yarns for this. nothing new went into that. They're all leftovers from other projects and bits and bobs that I had hanging around, and I used them all. I'm really happy with that, and I love the colours. Oh my goodness, I love those colours together. And I think this is the scarf I wore most last year. Once I'd finished it, I barely took it off. I'm so happy with it. And I can see myself definitely making another one of those. I really love it. He's so clever. I just don't know how he comes up with all these designs. It's genius. Love it so much. And I don't think I've ever made anything that I've had quite so many comments on as this scarf when I wear it around. Yeah, I'm constantly getting stopped on the street, people asking about it, where I got it, and I'm like, oh, I made it myself. And they're like, oh. Yeah, I really love it. Really, really love it. And this is what I wore to the Bendigo Sheep and Wool show last year. So it's my past finished object. So there really was a Stephen West theme to this episode, wasn't there? And that leads me on to acquisitions. So this acquisition, I ordered quite some time ago, and it only just arrived today. And that was annoying. Anyway, it's here now. When I ordered it, it was on special, which was great. And I ordered a sweater quantity. I had a pattern in mind for it. Everything's cool. And when it hadn't arrived, I ordered a bunch of stuff, and it was sent in 2 packages, which is fine. And the first package arrived, first part of my order arrived maybe a week after I ordered it, and I was like, wow, that's really quick. It was coming from overseas. And then the next order, been a week after that, still hadn't arrived, like the other half of the order, and it was the half I was really hanging out for. And it hadn't arrived, and I waited another week, hadn't arrived, waited another week. Anyway, at about the 30-day mark, I thought, I'm going to send the company an email and ask them if they know where my parcel is. And they hadn't included a tracking number or anything like that, so I couldn't track it myself. So I sent them a message, and I didn't hear from them for like a week. I'm like, oh, God. So I sent them another message, and I got like an automated message back saying they were experiencing long delays with replying. I was like, oh, good. And then I checked on their Facebook page, and there was just hundreds of disgruntled customers posting messages on their Facebook page. You know, where's my order? Customer service is terrible. I've emailed you 7 times and you haven't gotten back to me. All this stuff. So the same story as what I had. I didn't bother to write them the exact same thing. I just emailed them in an email. I didn't bother to write that on the Facebook page. They already knew they were experiencing difficulties from all the other disgruntled customers. Anyway, I sent another email yesterday, hoping to maybe get a reply. And then today I was heading out into town, and this was on my doorstep. It was in a package, obviously. So that was a bit of a rambly introduction to acquisitions. Sorry. I'm happy though that it has arrived. Finally. So it's Noro. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Is it Genome, like the sewing machine? Or is it Genome? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's gorgeous. The colours are so pretty. That's coming up pretty colour accurate, actually. And it is a silk and wool blend. And it's quite nice. It's sort of got a It's soft, but it's got like a dry feel to it. Not dry like crunchy, but it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's a really nice feel though. It's really, I've made other stuff with this particular yarn, and it's really nice to wear, and it's beautiful to work with as well. And of course it's got that Noro wow factor with the colours, of course. God, those colours are so pretty. There's actually a bit of orangey, sort of a rusty orange in there as well. And I'm going to knit this into a cardigan for myself. I don't know if you remember my black sparkly cardigan. I think I showed it on the first episode actually. It's a pattern that I've written, haven't released it yet, it's still being tested. And it's pretty simple, but it's a really nice style that's really easy to wear with pretty much anything. And I think that's going to come out really interesting in the cardigan. I don't know if I'm going to try and match up both sides and back and everything, and match the sleeves. I don't know. I've got lots of this yarn. I bought extra, figured out how much I'd need, and then I think I got 2 extra balls just in case I did want to attempt to match the colours instead of just grabbing the next ball and going for it, you know what I mean? But I don't know if I will. I'll see how I go. I might start off trying to do that and then give up halfway through because it's too hard. But anyway, I think that's going to make a really interesting, lovely cardigan, and I really can't wait to start it. But that is it for knitty things. I do have one more thing to show. So I've got fluff on my nose. So that's what you get for sniffing yarn. I've got this mug. How spectacular is it? This mug here, it's got pretties on the inside and a little love heart. I won't sip it up because I'll probably spill the rest of my tea, but there's a love heart in the base of it. I've got some really nice tea in it as well. But this amazing mug, oh, it's so pretty, was made for me by a friend of my sister's. My sister is a potter, and one of her friends who's also a potter wanted a pair of hand knit socks, and I wanted some of her amazing pottery, so she made me this amazing mug, and I made her a pair of pretty cool hand knit socks. She wanted them stripy, so I custom dyed a self-striping sock yarn in the colours that she requested and knit them up. And she made this gorgeous thing. Isn't it just sensational? She's so clever. And the tea I've got in there is a Japanese green tea with roasted rice in it. Anyway, it's beautiful. Toasted rice? I don't know. It's very, very nice. Green tea is my favourite, so I do drink a lot of it. Hot tip for anyone who wants to get into drinking green tea, because it's the best. An easy mistake to make is to treat green tea like you would treat regular black tea. Regular black tea copes pretty well with being brewed with boiling water, or water that's just off the boil, and still tastes nice. But if you make green tea with freshly boiled water, it will make the tea really bitter, and it's quite unpleasant. It can make your tongue feel a bit weird. And it's really not enjoyable at all, and it really doesn't matter if you put sugar in it or anything, it's just bleh. So ideally, you want to have your tea green tea at about 80 degrees, the water at about 80 degrees before it touches the actual tea leaves. And that can be tricky unless you've got some fancy kettle like my brother's where you can set the temperature on it. Mine's not like that. Mine's like an old-fashioned kettle. It boils water or it doesn't boil water, you know what I mean? But I find if I let the kettle boil and then I leave it for 25 minutes and then make my tea, it's spot on. Absolutely perfect. No bitterness, and you can let it steep for ages. I actually have this thing here. I don't know if I've actually expressed my love of tea before in the podcast, but I'm a very avid tea drinker. I have a whole section in my pantry just devoted to tea, and it's ever expanding. I actually have this thing, doesn't look like much. It's from T2, which is quite a popular, very good tea shop in Australia. And it's a thermos, so it's insulated, but inside it is a tea filter, tea strainer. So you put your tea in it and you put the lid on, and it's got like a separate top to it, so that when you drink, so your tea will steep in there, but when you drink from it, you're not getting a mouthful of tea leaves as well. It's filtered at the top as well, and it's awesome. And I just make one of these in the morning, and then I carry it around with me all day long, and it keeps my tea warm all day long and hot all day long, and it's perfect. So if I do this, if I put my slightly cooled boiled water in this with the green tea leaves, I can leave it steeping in there with the leaves in there all day, and it still doesn't get bitter, so that's pretty cool. If you're a keen tea drinker, I highly recommend these. I know David's Tea in Canada does something really similar, and I assume lots of tea shops do them as well. Really good. And now I think I really have finished talking about everything. Alright, yeah, I definitely have. It was a nice short one today. So I will see you all again next week, and I hope you have a very calm, peaceful, but exciting, crafty week ahead. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye.